Now, of course, normally I would just post it to my story and let you leave your comments and share how you felt about it. But now I would like to give my recap or review on those episodes, and I would like to hear what you think, how you felt about those episodes as well. So feel free to like, share, and comment on this video. Don't forget to follow us over on YouTube at Couch Potato Talk with Kaiti, Elyse, and Brett. So we do start this episode of 90 Day Fiancé the other way, seeing Holly and her mom leaving for their flight to South Africa. Now, mom is of course going to South Africa to check out Wayne and make sure Holly is in a safe area. Mom expresses that she's going to voice her concerns about their safety, but study the relationship between Wayne and Holly. Now, mind you, within the week they arrive. Holly and Wayne were supposed to be wed, so hopefully mom approves and she does receive her fairy tale wedding. Now, we get to watch the pair arrive in South Africa, and it's been a 38-hour flight, and Holly is unfortunately not feeling her best. She ends up throwing up for hours at a time and has Wayne waiting for her for about 2.5 hours after her flight has arrived and they have already boarded the plane. Right? So she finally shows up with all of her luggage to hug him. Of course, she cannot kiss him because she's just been throwing up, which sucks after not seeing your fiance for 7 months, huh? So, like I said, mom still isn't sure of Wayne, but she's watching him, and she needs to, because soon as Holly arrives, he critiques and begins to kind of scorn her for her clothing. They sat down, I guess, so she could get comfortable, and she was taking off her socks or putting on her socks or something, and her dress may have moved or shifted a little bit, and Wayne didn't care for that too much. So he did address the situation with attitude and said she was flaunting her goods, and I feel like that's a little disrespectful. She just got off the plane to see you. I feel like she was trying to be at least a little sexy for him. But I mean, to each his own, he has his opinion, and with him feeling like, that he feels that people are going to look at her and, judge her, and he doesn't feel as if she's dressed appropriately for where they are and where they'll be living. And he basically says, your attire has to change, your fit, how you dress, how you, approach, situations, or approach me, dress that way needs to change. And with that being said, Holly kind of brushes that off, and it's like, they head off to Wayne's apartment, and Holly is obviously not too set in stone on staying in his home as they're headed there, because she's already letting him know that they would need to move into a gated community. And of course, that wasn't discussed upon their arrival, because I'm sure Wayne has been making sure the house was safe because he's had 3 break-ins. So it seems like with this move, Holly and Wayne have hidden agendas or motives. We know Wayne wants mom to leave after a week so he can lovey-dovey and do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants, probably to Holly. And Holly basically, she wants Wayne, she wants safety, but she also wants that gated community to receive all those things, right? And that's understandable. He's been broken into 3 times. Why hasn't he moved? I don't know. But we, in this episode, which is episode 2, we're introduced to Chasawa TJ. We're gonna call him TJ. Okay, he's 33, from Jaipur, India. He's been doing voiceovers for 10 years. He is from a society of working people. The women do take care of the home, and the men do go out and work for everything that I guess the home needs, or everything they need to provide. Now, here's something that I found interesting when being introduced to TJ. They have a house cow, and the house cow is almost like a mother figure to them. And the way he describes it is, when you detach or leave your mother's breast and you stop taking your mother's breast milk, that cow is now the provider of that milk. So you respect that cow as another member of the home. Okay, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. You leave mom, and now this cow is like a fifth member of your family. Of course, because they provide you the nutrients that your mother provided. So they just respect that cow as an elder or, a family member. And he is ready to introduce this cow to his fiance, Kimberly. He met Kimberly on a spiritual group about 2 years ago, and when he saw his picture, he was in awe of her instantly. He sent her a friend request that wasn't really responded to. Obviously, she didn't respond. The way he took his picture was like, he thought he was being cool, but Kimberly automatically thought he was a scammer and had a fake profile. So, about after 6 months, they did meet in person, but the only way he did seem to get him to talk, the way TJ got Kimberly to talk to him, he said he meditated about her. He put her picture that he found on her profile as his phone screensaver and meditated on that picture. And eventually, if not the next day, Kimberly reached out to him and wanted to, hey, I thought you were a scammer. She wanted to know more about him. And so after about 6 months, they did meet in person and they hit it off from the beginning. Kimberly ended up staying for a year in India on a student visa, and they ended up spending a lot of time together. And TJ began falling in love with Kimberly. He did get his parents' approval for his love marriage, and they are now engaged. Now, I made the comment about a love marriage specifically because in India, their marriages are normally arranged, meaning the parents come together, the groom and the bride, parents come together, and they basically discuss the joining of the families. But the love marriage, especially to an American, is kind of hard to come by. So TJ, of course, is grateful that he got his parents' approval. Now, it would be a lot easier for him to get an Indian woman who is accustomed to contributing to the household and doing the daily work of a wife, or an Indian wife specifically. But TJ chooses to marry Kimberly, then tell her rewind that back. Then tell her that she has to conform to a traditional Indian wife. Now, Kimberly was introduced to us. She's a lovely woman. She was introduced to us. She's from Alabama, and she's clairvoyant. Now, I will not speak on that. That is to her. That's great for her. Okay? So, hopefully she can see if this is or is not for her. Okay? So, meaning... Okay, what I mean when I say clairvoyant and I say hopefully she can see that this is not for her. Clairvoyant means she can see things, spirits, objects, energies that are not there. Right? So she said she had a dream about her and TJ. And they were on a desert, and in this dream he wouldn't show his face. This is prior to meeting him. And Kimberly said eventually, after not being able to see the man's face, TJ came back into her life, or TJ, she was introduced to TJ on the app, and she was like, is this who's supposed to be in my dreams? Is this the man of my dreams? And obviously it was, because 6 months later, they're engaged, right? So, of course, she got proposed to after 6 months, but girl, y'all, it was over text. Now, she did not accept that. She was like, I'm not going to accept that. I will take a proper proposal only. So she hopped on a plane and went to see her man and gave her, yes, confirmation this is supposed to be my man, but still she did not accept that proposal until 2 months after spending some time with him in person. And they did agree to get married, like I keep saying. But here's the kicker: even after spending that, I believe, 2-year visa or whatever there, they still did not get married. Like, they decided to hold off. because it was temporary. Her visa was temporary, and I'm sure they wanted to apply for a spousal visa because in a couple months, well, exactly 4 months, they will be getting married and starting their new lives together. So of course, trying to plan a wedding is hard over the phone because TJ and his family are the ones planning the 3-day wedding. So TJ says it's kind of normal when it happens, but there's no need for Kimberly to worry because he has it all handled. In the conversation that we do see them have, they're trying to catch up on everything from the construction of the apartment and how the family will, if the family will respect Kimberly and her boundaries, and when she respect the family's rules as well. For example, she cannot cook garlic and onion because it is pungent. So therefore, in the Hinduism, religion, and or culture, don't know the difference, some or all of them think that bad energy is stored in these spices. So therefore, they are not allowed to cook or use them in the home. Of course, Kimberly does not feel that way because she's Italian and those are very valued spices to them. See the cultural breakdown? Okay, so once again, he tells her just to trust him and throws off everything that she's basically said in this conversation. Every worry she's brought up, he says, don't worry, trust me. Every question he's asked, he said, I got it, trust me. Those are often asked her to pull the tarot card, I guess. Now, after Kimberly arrives, they will get married after 10 days of her arriving. We do get to see him sit down. TJ gets to sit down with his family and talk about the wedding plans. And baby, his brother is going in. Okay? Because of course it's a traditional Indian custom that the bride or the bride's family takes care of the wedding. Okay. Well, she's obviously not a traditional Indian woman, so we already knew this. But since Kimberly is American, his mom is taking on the task of putting on the shebang. They knew Kimberly couldn't or wouldn't be able to plan the wedding when she said she wanted a white wedding dress. And apparently that's a no-no in Indian culture because white is only worn at a funeral or when a woman is or has become a widow. So with that being said, Kimberly was told to purchase a red dress, which symbolizes fertility, wealth, prosperity, and happiness. They also discussed how Kimberly should perform in the home. She's expected to, like I said, cook, clean, wash everything, smile and grin, and the pen so he can. Okay. That's what she's expected to do. Okay? And TJ is basically explaining to his family, look, Kimberly will get it when she gets here. I trust her. She trusts me. We'll figure it out as we go. But he does respect and understand where his family is coming from, of course. Before the episode ends, we do get to see Kimberly spend time with her dad and her stepmom, who will be going to India with her for about a week, for the wedding. They do get emotional because they built a strong bond with Kimberly. Kim's mom was pretty much, I'm going to call her Kim. Nobody calls her Kim. I haven't heard anybody call her Kim, but I'm going to call her Kim. Kimberly's mom was pretty vile to her as a child, and she feels like it's because her mom isn't fond of her dad and she's so much like her father that she's always been so mean and nasty to her. So with that being said, she ended up living with her dad, who did get remarried to her stepmom, and they ended up growing a bond. And as Kimberly got older, she relied on her parents, being her stepmom and her dad, more than anything. Because after she did her 2 years in India, she ended up coming to stay with them and selling everything probably she had in the apartment that she did have, if she had one, staying with them until it was time for her to get ready to go marry TJ. So of course they do express their worry for her because TJ and Kim Kimberly do lack communication. Kimberly also fears she won't be heard in their marriage, but she's going to give it a chance with all the anxiety she does have about it. She just hopes that they do see each other as equals and are able to communicate that to each other, or she's at least able to communicate that with him once she gets there and they do get married. Okay, so hopefully we see some progress with Kim and TJ, because they just getting started and it's a little rocky. And over in Mexico City, Armando and Kenny have some much needed errands to run, but Armando has tricked Kenny into doing some of these things himself. So as they go to the store, Armando and his daughter Hannah, they stick behind and they tell Kenny that he's going to have to go into the store by himself. Now, of course, that's not a nice trick to play on Kenny, because he doesn't know a lick of Spanish, and it's ultimately harder for him to get it together because of his learning disability. He has, of course, I believe one of them is like dyslexia. So as he goes through the store, he kind of struggles to communicate with the employees there, and he can't really locate any items. He eventually begins to locate small items, and he seems to get it together with the chicken, but wasn't winning with the salt and the pepper. Okay, because this grocery store is obviously different, not only from America, but from the one I believe in La Masia, where they're kind of in the country and it's easier and people kind of speak a little bit of English and they can help him. Now, during this experience, Kenny began to fear that Armando is going to get irritated after a while if they do move to Mexico City, and shoot, even after a while being in Mexico, because he does not speak any Spanish, and Armando is basically carrying Kenny, just like translating for him and making sure he knows what everything is. So he does become fearful that Armando will regret him or become irritated with having to carry him around all the time, pretty much. And Armando is getting a kick out of this, because at every turn it's kind of like he's knocking the experience to Mexico City down, and he just wants Kenny to see the bad or get a bad experience from Mexico City. So to get over the horrible grocery incident, because I mean they end up making it out alive, but to get over the horrible grocery store incident, Kenny and Armando head to the doggy park to discuss their living situation. And once again, Armando is trying to knock moving to Mexico City. Armando is basically like, I don't want to babysit you. Like I said, he does not want to babysit him. He does not want to have to make sure Kenny's okay before he goes somewhere, or can you go in the store? Can you get gas? You know, small things like that do make a difference. I mean, he would be carrying him. But you knew that prior to Kenny moving from America to Mexico City. He's 60 years old, honey. I don't think Kenny learning any Spanish anytime soon. Honestly. He's 60. Okay? So, with that being said, Armando does make a comment, or not Armando really makes a comment. Armando's comments make Kenny feel as if, well, Armando's comment, he did say, I don't want to babysit you, pretty much, and then says, I don't owe you anything for moving to Mexico, Kenny. I mean, that comment there also would make me a little baffled, Armando. Like, nobody said, because I came all the way over here, you have to carry me. What I believe Kenny was saying in this part of the episode was, have a little compassion and understanding for me coming this far and not knowing English either way. I mean, not knowing Spanish. Like, I still came this far for love, not knowing any Spanish. You knew prior to me coming here that I didn't know any Spanish. I'm sure at 60 years old, you should have known that I wasn't going to learn much Spanish, okay? But that's neither here nor there for me, okay? So in episode 1, we didn't get to see Kirsten. get through customs. Kirsten, I'm sorry. Kirsten. I keep calling this girl Christian. I said I was not going to do that anymore. Her name is Kirsten. So in episode 1, we didn't get to see Kirsten get through customs, but she got to walk through after a long awaited arrival, and she got to hug and kiss Julio. Due to her being from the Netherlands, they were of course suspicious for her reason traveling to the States, probably more so likely traveling to New York out of all these states as well for her first trip to the US. So now this trip is supposed to be for Julio to introduce Kirsten to his mother, but of course for the first night they will not be spending it at home with his mother. They're going to take a trip down to Times Square and stay in a Manhattan hotel. And of course they are eager to get to some alone time with one another and spend some time after a couple months, I believe, of being apart. And they sit down, take some drinks, take some pictures, get a couple drinks, take some pictures, and they discuss the eager move to the Netherlands and the fact that of course Julio needs an apartment, he needs a job, and the fact that he can't speak a lick of Dutch, and he's tried, and he probably knows 2 words, I think he said, maybe 2 words I heard him say, and he wasn't even sure if they were the correct words. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. So with that being said, Julio is still of course eager to move, and he says he's going to take that risk even though he can't speak Dutch, even though he doesn't have a job. He's going to find him an apartment and he's going to move out there anyway, in the hopes that him and Kirsten will be together for a long time. So we'll see him there eventually, won't we? But I cannot wait to see what Kirsten has to say when she finds out that he hasn't told mom really about her. I can't wait to see what Kirsten and mom will do at their first introduction. I mean, what will mom say just finding out about her? Like, that's the tea, y'all. But we'll see you next episode, huh? But before we end it here, we gotta check up on Brandan, right? We gotta check up on Brandan with Mary, man. So Brandan, of course, is about to get ready to go to the Philippines to live permanently with his girlfriend Mary. Brandan, and for his last little outing, or one of his, little few outings that Brandan does get to have, because he's technically connected to Mary 24/7. He's going fishing with his godparents, and it's been a while since he's been, because the last time they went he lost service and he and Mary got into a huge argument about it. So understanding who Mary is, his godparents are considerate and they find a spot for him with Wi-Fi, or not even Wi-Fi, a little connection. So of course the godparents, while Mary's on the phone sleeping, express their dissatisfaction with the fact that Brandan is going to live in the Philippines with Mary, and it's at a home that Brandan put all the funds into. Rewind it back, I'm going to say it again if you need to hear it. So of course I said the parents are upset, right? The godparents are upset, and they do express their dissatisfaction that Mary will be going to live in the Philippines, that Brandan will be living in the Philippines with Mary in a home that he put all of his funds to. Yes. So he and Mary did decide to build a home together after her grandparents' home blew away in a typhoon. And for me, that's a bit much, because, sir, how much money did you put into that? Like, what job did you have? Could you keep a job? And I got all of my questions answered in this episode. I was like blown away once they made that comment. And I was like, I jotted down those questions. I was like, how much money did he spend? And he's never seen her. And he built a house with no construction plans. I'm confused. He trusted her with all of his money, right? Yes. Okay, his godparents question, right, if Mary will take the home from him if they do get into it, if they break up. And of course that would be terrible, because Brandan did put all his funds into it, and he only has $250 in his pocket right now that he's traveling, or going to be traveling with, to the Philippines. So to answer all those questions, Brandan basically says it doesn't matter too much to him what anyone thinks. He does not believe that Mary is going to take anything from him. He is set on going to the Philippines. He needs to go to the Philippines. And to me, I'm going to tell you, 30 minutes and 28 seconds in, I clocked Brandan losing his mind, okay? Because he's set on going to the Philippines. Like, he spent, I believe they said $60,000 of all of his checks to build this home for Mary. He wasn't able to keep all those jobs from Ubering, small little odd jobs he couldn't keep because Mary had to be on the phone with him 24/7, and he would quit those jobs if those contracts or the job managers or whomever told him that he could not be on the phone with Mary. So he just quit ultimately, but still he found jobs to send money to her. So he could build a whole home in the Philippines, right, for her grandparents and her to stay in. So yeah, I clocked it at 30 minutes and 28 seconds if you want to go see Brandan lost his damn mind, okay? Now, we do see Brandan get ready to go after his fishing trip. And of course, it is like, who wants Brandan to go? Who wants Brandan to go be with, Mary after all of this, right? So we do watch Brandan walk through the airport with his godmom, and his mom did show up for him to say the final goodbyes. She shares that she is proud of him for making this choice on his own, but she does hope that she doesn't lose her son to Mary. Hell, I feel her. She give me killer vibes. She give me vibes that Brandan goes over there and says the wrong thing. He will end up in a lake pond, snake's mouth. I don't know. Like, I just feel like Brandan will make it. Like, but you never know about Brandan. He's also quiet as kept as well, so he may be a little creepy too. Okay, but Mary definitely gives me killer vibes. Okay, I'm not sure about anyone else. Okay, so everyone's on the same page. Okay, so they leave off on a good note, the godmother Brandan and his mom, and there was no arguments. It was a bunch of hugs, and they did agree to keep in communication. Brandan did agree to that he was going to call them, check up on them, and and let them know that he was safe. So we do see Brandan set off, and I hope he has a safe arrival. Hope they can stop arguing, and the trust will hopefully dissipate once they're together in the physical. Like, she can see he's not cheating. He can see she's not cheating. Brandan don't know she sneak off to go see with her guy friend. So, this neither here nor there either for us. He's watching it now with us, right? So, he knows now, doesn't he? Maybe she got 90-day fiancé the other way turned off in the Philippines, because she don't want him to see that part, right? But, anywho, before our boy can sit good and get comfortable in his plane seat, Mary's like, who are you sitting by? Let's see a picture of who you're sitting by. And of course, he's honest. I wouldn't have been. She's crazy. I would just say, no, I'm sitting by myself. I'm sitting by a boy. I'm sitting by a man. He's honest and it's like, I'm sitting by a girl, and she made him request a seat change. Now, if crazy not crazy, what is it? If crazy is not crazy, what is it? If a duck quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, what is it? For the people in the back. Okay, it's the duck. So, she gets instantly irritated and insecure and begins texting Brandan back to back. Now, you have to go to Facebook to go see the text messages. You have to go to my Facebook page to see all of the inserts of the clips and the videos, because YouTube here does not let me insert them. But if you go follow me on Couch Potato Talk with /K, the number 8, and T, you get to see all of these clips in the text messages that Mary wrote him, right? So they go back to back to back to back, and Brandan is making the right decision. And I'm sure Brandan is questioning his decision of moving here at this point, because this is just like, don't come at this point. F you. Go sit next to the girl. I mean, she's just drawing F-bombs after F-bombs, disrespecting him after he's already changed his seats. And he told her, hey, babe, I changed the seat. She does not care. She's still throwing the F-bombs. F you. Go F the girl. Sit by the girl. At this point, I'm scared for bro, because if he's still going there with her acting this way, like, he can't even experience the trip well. Like, he can't even enjoy the flight, get the experience of traveling on a plane, because he's assuming. Like, how can you say who's going to sit next to him? Like, when you create that ticket, like Brandan said, it does not say female, it does not say male, it does not tell you who you're sitting next to until you get on that flight. Okay? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Yeah. Because, girl, I told you in the last episode, I see Brandan, I'm gonna speak, but you're pushing it. You're pushing me, Mary. Like, she told this man, don't even come, don't even worry about it. Broke up with him, said, I'm done. She on a plane. I don't know.